matter to you if
Because the truth
I'm
matters.
deceived or Bob's deceived? But what
Well,
difference does it make
I
to
do
you
agree
in
that
your
there's
life?
well, it spreads disinformation. It hurts people who,
It doesn't hurt me.
yes it does. It has
do you
flat
Don't
Earth
tell me what
destroys
hurts me
lives.
and what doesn't.
It destroys people's lives. I've seen it. I've seen it destroy their
are you under
lives.
the impression that the truth won't come out eventually by itself? Like, do you think that the truth has like no power on its own
The
to
truth is out.
eventually come out?
The
The
truth of
truth
the
is
earth
already
is out.
out.
I think that like if something is true or if something is truth, that like there is no escaping it eventually. Like it might take some time, but I think that there is no escaping truth ultimately. So like
Well,
I don't
I,
think
I
it
I
should
kind
worry
of
somebody too much
I kind of
if
disagree
it
on that. I think that
Yeah, I think
truth.
that too.
I
It
think
will come
truth
out.
can be. No, I don't have that belief. I think truth can be hidden, and
oh sure.
it can be corrupted and kept from people, and it can lead to
Maybe it
harming
can. I
people.
just don't think that
Like for instance, the vaccine. I'm much more against people who are anti-vaccine because they kill children. So I think that is much more harmful, right? And so that needs to be fought. Uh,
I
Flat
don't
Earth
think a
isn't going to
human
hurt
being has
anybody
the power
physically.
to fully obfuscate perpetually truth. I think that they can like try to change it or try to hide it for a time or obfuscate things like that. I don't think they have the power to fully hide the truth perpetually and no one else ever finds out. I don't think that's a thing that human beings have the ability to do. There's just too much work and variables and that like there's just too much power that would be involved in a human being hiding truth that well.
I think to have this a blanket distrust in all of science and believe that millions of people are perpetuating a huge conspiratorial lie to try
I
and
don't think
steal
that.
reality from you is a dangerous idea, and I think it leads to
I
a
don't
lot
think that. I
more.
don't think that there's millions of people in on some lie or whatever.
Well, there has to
Well,
be.
there would have to be, yeah.
No, there
There
doesn't.
has.
Yeah, there
Yes,
would.
there absolutely does.
No, there
No,
really
Why
doesn't.
no,
not?
there
Yes, there'd
really
have to
wouldn't.
be. No, there'd
That's
have to
kind
be
of a
because
No,
logical
there's
assumption.
millions of people. There's
It's not
millions of people in space programs
Well,
alone,
Yeah,
and that's just
yeah.
one
how
right.
planet.
many
Okay,
no,
people?
there's
so
only like
Well, how
550
many
that have
people
been
would
to
have to be
space.
lying?
think about what you're saying though. Like the person who builds the muffler for a minivan doesn't
No,
have knowledge of everywhere the minivan goes for the entire time the minivan is in
but
service. Okay,
you're
they just know how to
underestimating.
build a muffler, so it doesn't have
You're
to involve 30 people.
underestimating the
It
numbers
can
of people
involve
that have
like
to be lying.
3 people at the top, and
Yeah,
then
No,
but
them
how many?
only giving
that's not
others
the case.
certain information.
That's
How
just
many
not the case.
people do you think it would take then to keep this lie under wraps?
I don't think it's a matter of keeping a lie under wraps. I don't think that's so. I think that
Well,
it is a
isn't that
matter
what
of
you're
people
saying?
So
not
the
looking hard enough.
500 plus, the 500 plus astronauts that have been into space and seen the Earth as a globe, are they lying or aren't they lying?
I don't think anybody lied. They
I
told you it was a model. They said
I don't
heliocentric
think
model.
it's as simple as that. And there's a couple
They've
reasons why.
seen it.
One, nobody's having to work particularly hard to convince people that like we live on a ball. So it's not like everyone's working super hard to keep this thing going. Like almost everybody thinks we live on a ball, right? So it's not like there's hard work going into keeping that going. It's just a
There
thing that most
would
people
be.
think is true.
There would
On top
have
of
to be
that,
though.
your example of the astronauts that go like there's a lot of things that could take place that would actually make them think
There
they
would
did
have
go
to
to
be there would
space,
have to be a lot of people in on
and
the
therefore they
deception
wouldn't
There,
be
because if
lying in
if
that
it was
sense.
the
A
They
lot
case
would
of
that the
just
Earth
things
is
could have
flat,
be
taken
truth.
place to make. You said a lot of things could have taken place to make the astronauts believe that they went into space.
Yeah,
Could you give us an idea on what these lot of things might have to be?
sure. So, um, if somebody, I mean, this is something that I think is accepted as could happen. You can identify people like in a crowd that could be more easily manipulated than others. Okay, so let's say there's a program that can identify people such as that meet the
you've
parameters they
got to be
need that
fucking kidding
for
me.
manipulation. Then they basically tell them you've been selected. This person is happy because they've been selected, and they go into a program where they are put under conditions that will make them even more
All right, yeah,
able
yeah,
to be manipulated, like
I get,
hypnotism and things like that.
yeah, I get
And
what
then,
I understand what you're getting at.
right.
So rather than just fooling these 500 odd people, I'm talking more about the whole support that has to go behind that.
What
Just
I'm
think
saying is
about
that that support isn't something that's actively working against them. They could have done this, 60 years ago with 10 people, and then everybody else since then has just been working on the precept of, well, we don't have to go back and invent the wheel. They did this, so now we're working on this.
But Bob,
Yeah,
just
but
think
those 10
about.
people would have
Go
to
ahead.
grow exponentially through time
Yes,
because
they would.
you've
10
got to
people
set up
tell
more
10
and
people.
more elaborate systems to fool 500 people that you're sending into space. And the more
You don't
elaborate
have to
systems
fool
you set
anybody else.
up, the more people you need to support those elaborate systems.
But you don't have to fool anyone else. If
Bob,
everyone in the
Yeah,
school
you
is
do.
taught that the Earth is a ball, you don't have to fool anyone once they're an adult. They already accepted it's a
So,
ball. There's no more fooling going on as far as working really
so
hard.
where are they going when they go to ISS and there's live pictures of them floating in the ISS?
I have no idea.
Where would they go for that,
I
and
don't know.
how would you fool them into believing that they're actually floating?
I don't know. I mean, they could be
Yeah,
doing
that's
something
the
with a
point. You
plane. They
don't
could be
know.
doing something underwater. They could be. There's all kinds of things they could be doing. Possibilities are
In the
based.
water.
They'd know
Right?
they were in the water. What are you talking about?
Really, in the
but
water. You really
Bob,
think you're going to be able to pull that off with 10 people knowing the truth?
I think you're
but Bob,
misunderstanding what I'm saying.
No,
Bob,
I
just
understand what you're saying. I don't think you understand what you're saying because the, the amount of resources that would have to go into fooling people would be immense.
No, it wouldn't. You wouldn't have to
Of
fool
course it
people
would.
anymore. No, it wouldn't.
Bob, just think about the number of people it would take just to produce the fake images and videos and data and put up balloons to fake
Okay.
GPS and weather
What about the teams
satellites.
of
Here's my
the
response.
teams of
Okay?
CGI
Do
experts?
you think that there is an intelligent creator that created our universe?
The fuck does that
I
have to do with
don't know.
anything?
Told
I
ya,
don't
it's
know.
religion.
Do,
Da-da-da-da-da.
do you think that there is?
I
What does
don't
that have to
know.
do with anything?
Is there a reason you won't answer, Phil? I'm just looking for an
Because
answer.
it's a completely bullshit irrelevant question.
You don't know why I'm asking it yet. So how would you make that assessment? Can you just tell me
I
whether or
have
not
no idea. The right answer
you have
for
no idea?
everyone is I
Okay,
have no
so
idea, just like was said.
there are people who claim that they do know for sure, right?
I don't think so. I think they'll
You
claim
don't
we've
think
got the
anyone
best.
on Earth claims that they know for sure that God exists? You don't think one person on Earth claims
Oh,
that?
God exists. Oh, yeah, yeah. There's people that claim that their
Right. Okay.
belief is true.
They claim that they absolutely know it for sure, right?
They do,
Okay.
yeah,
Do you believe
but they
them
haven't got
that
anything
they know it for
really
sure?
evident in their head. They know it for sure
Okay.
What
So
to
they
fool
how do these
themselves.
millions or billions of people all over the Earth know this thing for sure, just like you are saying about the space station and space and astronauts, even though you're saying they don't have any evidence? It can
It's a
happen,
false analogy,
obviously,
man.
because it happens, right?
That is
It's
such a
it's
bullshit analogy.
it's a faulty
That
analogy.
was good.
They don't
That
correlate.
was
That
good,
was
Bob.
good. Page
That was good.
good.
You
Fucking
admit
high
that it
page.
happens. And it didn't take somebody constantly working on the lie super hard with every individual or anything like that. What it took was a few people deciding these are the
That's
rules, this is the deity, and
Oh,
this is how you're going to interact with them. And
there's a
then from
reason
there,
why.
for
There's a,
years and years and years and years, it grew and got bigger and bigger and bigger because people kept not checking the original work. That's how it can happen.
no, there's a
Prove
yeah,
that
but
difference. There's a
that's where
difference.
your
then
analogy's
we can
wrong.
talk about NASA not lying.
There's a difference.
That's
There's a
where your
difference.
analogy falls apart. That's where you're incorrect and wrong with your analogy.
All right,
Because
elaborate.
people are checking. People are checking
Also,
space.
also,
Okay,
if the
People
Earth,
are checking
A
science.
bit like people checking the
if
globe.
if
It's
the
a
Earth
slow
was
process. It
But
only
there's no
happens in a
gravity.
couple of people at a time.
if the
keep
Earth
hearing
was
Are there
actually
millions-
flat,
We don't have to check. We don't have to go back and reinvent the wheel. It's already been done. We can move past that. We don't have to go back and reinvent the wheel and check this and that. It's
say,
already
Bob-
been done. So what I
Bob
keep hearing
Dole.
from you is that it does not need
No,
to be
it keeps getting checked
now.
and
Bob Dole.
verified. It's always it's being verified
And
every
that's
time we
exactly
launch a
what the
rocket.
religious
Bob
people will
Dole.
tell
Every
you.
time another
Check and
country puts
verify.
something in space.
That's exactly what they'll tell you. That if you
Bob
talk to
Dole.
a Muslim, he will tell you it's been checked and verified.
Bob Dole.
Won't he?
Bob,
Bob
come
Dole.
on now, dude.
Bob Dole, if
What?
God didn't exist, what would change about the world?
Good point, Brenda.
How's he supposed to ever answer that?
That's another
What a
question.
silly question.
The point is,
Possibility.
if the
No way
Earth was
someone can
flat,
test that.
things would change.
If
There would
religion
be a
didn't
difference.
exist,
There would
there'd
be a
be more
difference.
people.
I never said it would change. I didn't make that claim at all.
So the point is, the reason that your analogy is bad is because if God didn't exist, nothing about the world would change. But if the Earth was flat, almost everything would change.
Millions of people would change. They
No,
would
but
change their
somehow-
daily habits. They would
You have no way
change what
to
they
assess
do on a
whether
Sunday.
the
They
world
would
if
change.
religion didn't exist. You literally cannot assess that. You have no way to test it. Your claim
That's
is
not
based
the
entirely
reason
on
that-
your own conjecture.
Fuck, that is not the reason that's a bad analogy. That's a bad analogy because there are not millions of photographs and videos and God satellites and God measurements and shit that have been faked all
But
over
there's
the world.
lots of testimony of miracles and
The
healings and
testimony is shit. We have direct
you know,
evidence of
Yeah,
the
the
fucking
testimony-
healing water and
Pictures of oceans,
whatever else they
physical
talk
evidence.
all
about.
of the evidence of God. That's what they'll tell you.
You've lost me, dude.
But
That's
you
a
won't
bullshit
accept the
analogy
evidence,
by
so
so
it'll
far.
be pictures and it'll be measurements and it'll be math, and they'll show you, see, look at how all this stuff works. God made all of it, but you wouldn't accept it, would you? Because
Show
that's
me
not
these
what-
videos of fucking God. Show me some videos of God. Where you got them?
Did you
I'm not
hear
saying I
what
wouldn't
said?
accept it. I'm not saying I wouldn't accept God not being real.
What I said
If
was,
you
what
had-
they'll do is they'll take pictures of trees and animals and oceans and say,
You
see,
give me a
this
picture
is
of God, and
the
I'll
evidence. He made this.
give me a
That's
picture of
That's not
God. Give me a
possible.
picture or evidence of God. I'll
Give
have
us a picture
Yeah.
of bending space-time.
No, listen, if I gave you a picture
I
right
can. I
now,
will right now.
you that it was a picture of the creator, you would not accept it. You would say that's a picture, and there's no way to verify that that's actually the creator. That's what you would tell me if you were intellectually honest and actually wanted to be reasonable and logical. If you would
Dude,
accept
if
the
you
whole
had-
thing with God is you
person
can't
I
see God.
claim was the creator, if
complete
you would
bullshit.
say, "Oh, it's a picture, so I accept it," you
Bob.
don't want truth.
Bob,
You can't
if you
see
had as
God.
much, if you
by
had as much
Bible's
evidence
own-
for God, if you had as much evidence for God as there is for the globe, I would believe it in a second. In a
You
fucking
didn't answer my
second.
question.
What the fuck's your question then?
Why would it not happen with the globe or space or astronauts? Why would it be any more difficult for that than it would be for them to convince them about the religious thing? It wouldn't be any more difficult.
As I just told you, the analogy is horseshit because there are piles and piles of evidence of the
That
globe,
doesn't answer the
not
question.
for God. It is
Considering
answering the fucking
both
question.
are based
There's
on
7
pictures.
billion human beings that prove
They
creation.
tell you
So-
that they
Oh
do
my
have
God.
evidence.
This
They
is
would
where I
tell you
checked
both-
they
out.
have evidence.
Yeah.
Both are
Anecdotes.
based on
But
pictures.
I'm just
or
saying that's
writing.
what they would say. They would say there's 7 billion
Anecdote.
human beings. There's animals and, you
Yeah,
know, like that's what they would say.
This is where I check out. This was a good conversation until now. I'm gonna have to take off.